Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Brittany with Horoscope.com. Here are 3 things you need to know in order to make today, Wednesday, February 20th, 2019, a success. And the first thing I want to talk about is going to be right here where the moon is. Now in this chart, the moon is in the sign of Virgo, where it will be today. When the moon's in Virgo, it brings our attention to our job, our daily routines. It also brings our attention to practical matters like our health, as well as our strategy and our plan to help us to get to where it is that we want to go. Now what we've got happening this morning around breakfast time is this moon in Virgo coming into an opposition here with Neptune and Pisces. What this can bring is some confusion that could come up early this morning. This moon in Virgo wants to get things done in a practical way on the day-to-day. But as you're getting things done on the day-to-day, doing things, maybe there's something spiritually and intuitively, emotionally on your mind that you are trying to process, perhaps in the periphery here. And I think what's going on is that could cause confusion. How do I do things in a practical way on the day-to-day when I feel so many things that could come up? You may need some time early this morning to take a break maybe from some of the things that it is that you're doing or have been doing or want to do, so that you can listen to your intuition and get right with yourself emotionally before proceeding forward, to make sure not that you're just doing things, but that you're doing the right things that really are meant for you and can make you feel the best. Okay, so I think that's what's going on this morning. About an hour after that happens, this moon in Virgo is then going to make a trine over to Saturn in Capricorn, which I actually think is pretty, especially since Saturn's making this trine to Neptune right now. I think after you weigh things out emotionally, what are your plans for the day and how you want to proceed in a way that can make you feel better spiritually, I think then it comes with this trine to Saturn to committing to doing the things now that you just realized that it is that you need in order to feel better. And it becomes easier for you at this time to then make commitments, perhaps to putting your life in some different place or direction, but to doing that in a way now that feels much better for you peacefully inside. Okay, and emotionally. So that's what's going on there. A few hours after that happens, now it's going to be after lunchtime. The moon then is going to move further through Virgo and make an opposition over here to Mercury and Pisces. And what that could then bring as we move throughout the day are conversations. These are conversations that could occur here about your feelings, what you're feeling, what you're doing on the day-to-day, what it is that you ultimately hope to do that could come up. Yeah, just lots of talking. After that happens, a few hours later now, as we're moving towards dinner, this moon in Virgo is then going to make a trine over here to Venus in Capricorn. So I think you're having lots of conversations at the end of the day here about your feelings, about your practical reality, about some things you're doing on the day-to-day. And I think what that's going to lead as we move to dinner time is going to be maybe to some decisions you might have to make about relationships, or it might help you to think more seriously about your future with relationships and with money as well. That could come up there, okay, as a result of the things that you think or talk about. Then after that occurs, this moon in Virgo is then going to make a square over here to Jupiter in Sagittarius. And that I do like a lot. I think what that can bring is a new set of daily routines, a new practical reality, doing something very, very exciting on the day-to-day as a result of some of the things that maybe you talked about earlier, realized you need, or began to commit to with relationships and money. Now the last alignment that's going to occur after that is going to be right around bedtime. And right around bedtime, this moon in Virgo is then going to make a trine over here to Pluto in Capricorn. And what that could bring is a change now in your life and where your life is going, because you're doing something new on the day-to-day that you discussed earlier with relationships and money, about what it is that you're feeling, that can then start to take place, okay? And that's the last thing that's going to happen. So that was a lot, but with the moon making a lot of aspects. But I really do think what's going on here is we're trying to organize our life in a better way on the day-to-day, doing something that we feel resonates with us more. But in order for us to do that, we may have to listen to our intuition. We may have to have some conversations about what it is that we're feeling. Those conversations can then help us to figure a path forward and to see our relationships and money, a future with them, to see things and to be a little bit more serious about what is to come next. Which is going to help us do things differently and better. And needing to not be afraid here to have the conversations about your feelings in order to get in order to make the decisions that you need. Now, the second thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go here. Number 2, Mercury is coming into a square with Jupiter today after coming off of this conjunction with Neptune. I think what this can bring definitely could be some confusing conversations, but can also help us. And the conversations are only confusing because we're having to talk about our feelings. Sometimes it's hard to talk about feelings, especially with Mercury and Pisces. But I think if you cannot be afraid to have these kind of confusing feelings, to explore your emotions and talk about things that are kind of hazy, I think there's a chance with this square to Jupiter to get real insight and real perspective on your feelings, and to welcome and bring in new emotional chapters, to see things differently, think about your life in different ways, get a new perspective, and needing to not be afraid here, right, to talk about the hard thing so that you can get different results and see things differently. Now, the third and last thing that I want to talk about, what do I want to go to? Maybe I'll go here to, I'll go back here to Venus and Pluto. I know I talked about this a little bit just because the moon is touching this today, but I wanted to say it again. Your relationships and your money are going to have to change. The way that you do relationships, the way that you do money, who you're in a relationship with, how you organize your money, it's going to have to be very, very different. And I think needing to not be afraid to let those things change. I think with the moon in the spot that it is today, we're having conversations, we're dealing with our feelings, and whether we realize it or not, these conversations and these feelings that are coming up are eventually going to incite us to make some big change and to transform our life in a big way that I think is going to be very positive, even if at the moment it feels scary. Sometimes Pluto transits feel very scary and very intense. So we could feel afraid about what's next with relationships and money, but I think it's very, very positive. And the moon here is helping us to channel more of our emotions and feelings in a positive way so that we can get the insight that we need and do what needs to be done in order to move forward step by step, little by little, even if there's still more things that are unclear. So that is your daily planetary forecast for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow.